Welcome to Refuel with Jennifer Ballou. Join Jennifer for a time to recharge, refresh, and refuel your heart and soul. Here's your host, Jennifer Ballou.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you here with me today. So we've got some fun stuff coming up. You know, I told you I wasn't ready to really let go of this kingdom representative topic, but I was talking through it. So I've talked some people into coming in and just having conversations about what that really looks like to be a kingdom representative. From being one in our home as maybe stay-at-home moms to being in just our workplace or being in ministry, just all the different kind of areas that we really can look at as far as just being a kingdom representative in our day-to-day lives. So here we go with our first interview. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. And today I have a guest. This is Taylor Harris.
Hi.
And I've asked Taylor here, and Taylor is one of a few that I've decided, just as we've been talking about being a kingdom representative, I wasn't quite ready to let go of that subject. But I thought it would be interesting to just talk to other people and kind of see what their take is on it and how they kind of live their life being a kingdom representative. So that's just kind of where we're going to head and talk about. Taylor is the wife of Cody Harris, and Cody has been on the show before when it was just the radio show, and he was running for office for state representative, and he won, and he is state representative. So Taylor went from being stay-at-home mom in a little small town to being kind of in the public eye. I don't really know what your life is like as far as that goes, but I'm sure there's, some public whatever to that. So
yeah, when we're home, I tend to forget about it, which
Yes.
is really nice. But then, especially during session, he's in session, he just was from January to May.
Okay.
So when they're there and he has to be there, there's a little more of a focus on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for including me in that group. I'm super honored.
So just tell me kind of, I don't know, just what is maybe even your testimony, your background of being a believer and things like that, just so we kind of have a way of getting into that place of being a kingdom representative and a kind of a mindset of that.
Right. Well, thankfully, I was blessed to grow up in a Christian home, and so faith kind of just always was until high school. I battled pretty severe depression and anxiety, and so that's when my faith became my own. I couldn't. My parents taught me a lot, but I kind of piggybacked off of them until I really had to trust the Lord and lean on Him. So that was kind of where my journey with the Lord started. And I met Cody at a young age. So
they were high school sweethearts.
He was involved in that story. And I knew he loved politics. I followed him to A&M. We both were political science majors. Our plan...
I did not know you were.
Yes, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, our plan was he was going to go to law school. I was going to work in that field to some degree. I worked for... my wonderful soccer coach was a judge, and I worked for him in high school. And so that was our plan, and then the Lord changed it all, and we got married in college, and then had Cooper pretty early after we got married. And so we moved back, and Cody did real estate. And so it was not at all what we thought. So anyway, back to the politics. I knew he loved that, but it was kind of like maybe one day, didn't really know how the Lord would use it. We went on and had 3 boys, and then did foster care, and got our sweet Chloe that way. And
that's even a whole other story, I think, of being a kingdom representative as well, as stepping into that arena of foster care and just, being, anyway.
Yeah, that I don't do anything. Like I was in Bible study fellowship with a girl who was doing foster care, and we had pursued adoption, but no doors opened. And so it took me a whole year of sitting right next to that girl. And I was kind of like, no, thanks, Lord, So usually with BSF, you switch groups and switch people each year. And I went back the next year, and sure enough, that girl was back in my group. And I was like, okay, Lord, I get it. So it takes me a while. I'd love to say I'm a quick, obedient person, but that's not really true. So that was kind of how foster care came about. But anyway, we were, Chloe, I think we had just finished her adoption. Her adoption had been final. And then they called Cody about running for the vacant house seat. And it was my birthday. And so I like to tease him, like, you ruined my birthday. But they asked him, and he just kind of said no, like it's not the right time. And I said initially no, probably out of fear. That's usually my knee-jerk reaction. And then I don't know, the Lord would not leave me alone about it. And I just thought, I don't want to be the reason he says no. I knew that was a passion of his. I had no idea what a state representative did, to be honest. Right. So that the whole thing was a learning curve. But I just thought, like, I don't want to be disobedient. I have no idea what this looks like. But I was too afraid of fearful of the Lord, and he had invited us into it. So
that's amazing. So what do you think has changed as far as your mindset? As stay-at-home moms, I think we do think a lot about being teaching our kids Jesus and our faith and our walk, but I don't know that we necessarily think, oh, I'm being a representative for everyone else around me.
Right.
So from going from a stay-at-home mom to now you're a little bit more in the public eye, how has that changed, do you think? Or do you think it did?
At first, it was more kind of, I didn't want that position to change us in a way, in how we did life and what our priorities were. And that was Cody's first session, and we got to go to Austin and see what that looked like with him. This last session, we didn't go. The kids and I stayed, and so it was more, I was able to tell the kids, like, this is a sacrifice, and this is what the Lord's asked us to do while your daddy does this. And so the way we talk about him, the way we talk about our leaders that we don't agree with, it kind of helped me remind myself when I was telling them, this is our part in this, and that's how we show people how we're serving right now.
Right. Oh, that's good. That's really good, because it is. I mean, I think we have to think, if we're in this place of always choosing to represent the kingdom of heaven, and that is a daily choice that we really have to get up and go, okay, well, my plan is to represent God today. Whether I make it through the whole day is questionable sometimes, but, when we get up with that mindset and that thought process of, if I'm not making that choice, then what am I representing?
Right.
That's made a big difference in my mindset of thinking, okay, if I'm going to, it's either one or the other.
Yeah,
you can't just be like,
right.
Don't you like how we don't completely finish a sentence sometimes? Whatever. But in that thought process, then to think, with the way the world is right now, and there's so many people that are constantly getting offended, or, opinions are flying out all over the place, and, the disagreement on opinions, like people just really feel like they can attack whoever they want to attack. It's very personal.
All the time. Yeah.
And that used to not be that way. But when you get up and have that mindset of, okay, this is how we're serving, this is what God's called us to, and this is how we are going to represent the kingdom, and it's so different from the world view. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, you're really having to teach a lot to the kids and then walk it out. That's a big deal to really.
Yeah. And like you said, tensions are high right now. And so even watching, I would watch while they were on the floor and Cody asked him all kinds of questions. But sometimes I just had to turn it off because it just, your blood pressure gets too high because it's easy to lump people together instead of just realize the people that don't align with our views are typically coming from hurt or coming from some experience that did happen to them.
Right.
Instead of
and they're still just people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Firmly believing the same way about what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So any plans, are y'all going to go back when the next session or what's the... I don't remember. I don't know. I know Cody has told me how it all works, but I always forget. So.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't know. So he just finished. They go every 2 years. So he'll have to be in Austin every 2 years. They basically are in session a year and they campaign a year. So he'll go back into campaigning now. Okay. They will have some special sessions later this year, so he'll have to go back, but not for the length of time that he did. Okay. So our plan, he's going to go to Austin on Wednesday, and he's going to take Turner, and he did such a great job of taking the kids even when we were home. Right, yeah. And that gives them perspective, too, which is
I think that's great.
Super helpful. Yeah. But I think our plan right now this season, the next few sessions, if that's what the Lord calls us to, the kids and I will be here. Right. And he'll be there. Yeah.
I mean, they're in school and all that kind of stuff, too.
Just their ages. Yeah. They have their own life.
Also, to really incorporate them into all of it, I think, is also another way of really looking at being a representative of the kingdom as well as a representative of the state. Because so many of the times people really just kind of, in ministry and in our jobs, in our life even, we either tend to shield our kids, shuffle them to the side, whatever, and to really go, no, okay, you're going to go spend this time with Dad and watch it and see what happens, or no, you're going to stay back and you're going to see how it works from this end, or, you know, whatever. I think that's awesome, and I think that's another mindset that we need to take even in our day-to-day life of, letting our kids really see what happens in life and being transparent with them and, allowing the good and the bad to kind of happen with them as well. Yeah. And kind of like the Lord, I think I always joke, here comes our circus, because we're just wild and loud and we, converge on the Capitol and it's oh my gosh, there's all these people. But, sending them, I want them to behave just so and just be just right. But we kind of just let them fail sometimes. Not horribly, but they're kids. So someday they're in a mood, someday, they just go. And I think, the Lord kind of does that with us too. He just lets us kind of flounder around a little bit. And then there's always a lesson, and he's super kind to bring it back to here's what I was trying to teach you, or here's why this matters. And so we kind of full circle with that with the kids. Yeah. No, that's so good. I just last week I shared on here just a story about a friend of mine. You know who I'm talking about, but just how we had their issues and the big thing. And I did not shield my kids from it. I really allowed them to see every bit of it. I let them see the hurt and the trauma from it. Really told them what was going on, walked with them through it. And, now that the restorations come about and the healings come about, there's so many things I can look back on and go, oh, well, this one needed to see it because she could speak into this person's life. Or even the baby of the family needed to see it because she had to walk through something very similar, And if I hadn't let them see all of it, how much harder it would have been for my youngest to deal with what she had to deal with, you know? And, that's just, it's true in all areas of life that we just live out loud, you know?
And he's faithful to use it for good.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. It's amazing. So what else is going on with you that, talk a little bit about I don't know what you call the mentoring thing. Yes, the Bible study. Whatever it is that y'all are doing. Yes. It's just amazing. And
it's super exciting. I mean, we just call it Bible study, and we kind of on our summer schedule meeting every other Sunday. But we're meeting every Sunday, which is a big commitment.
That's a big commitment, yes.
And my friend and I just we were in different not groups, but Bible study groups, just with different ladies in the spring. And the resounding theme that kept coming up was mentorship. And I knew that was biblical, but we just saw a need, and we're hearing a need from ladies. And so I'm more passive and kind of like, well, how can we help? And she's like, well, what are we going to do about it? And together we were just like, we're just going to ask. And that's what we did. And we came up with a list, and our lists were the same, which the Lord was sweet to confirm as we went along. Cause you never know when you do that kind of thing. Right. And, so we just asked him, and several of them were like, yes, we've been waiting for an opportunity like this. And so that was kind of all we did. We said, we don't have much. We are just asking you to mentor us.
Yeah. So you just meet with these women and just kind of talk through.
The first one, we just said, we love studies. There's some amazing studies that we've done, but because it was just going to be open to anybody, would you please just teach from the Word? And so when we all got together that first time, we just asked all the ladies, like, what's your struggle right now? What's really hard in life? And will you write that down? What do you want to know more about? And they did. And so all the mentor ladies just picked a card, and they prayed about it. They saw the list and prayed about it, and then picked a card to teach on that subject.
Oh, wow. So, how cool.
Yeah.
So that really,
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And just really, I can see how that would continually help you grow.
Yeah.
Too. And it does something. I mean, I remember, I can't remember how old I was. I was going to say an age, but anyway. But as a young mom, I remember some friends of mine from high school, and then just some other friends that had kind of joined the group, basically. We would meet with, and I think Sandy Jenkins is probably one of y'all's, but we would meet with Sandy, who happened to be most of our 5th grade teacher, so that was just cool to kind of go back into that setting and challenge each other even, really dive into the Word, look at what it really meant to be a wife and a mom, and a kingdom representative.
Right.
Didn't use that term then, but that's, really what it was, is really challenging each other to step into that place. And I think that probably knit my heart so close with those women, that, I mean, yes, they had been childhood friends, some of them, but, there's just something different in that knitting together under the Word and really walking out,
super vulnerable.
Yes. And we knew each other.
Right.
Well, we knew each other before we really had a lot of Jesus in us. So that made it even more fun.
Yeah. In a small town, it's, Yeah.
They know everybody's stuff. So. Oh, gosh. Is there anything else you want to share about, or just even the thought and the process of being a kingdom representative? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, I feel like I mentioned with Cody's first session, and just knew nothing. It was kind of like drinking from a fire hydrant. We were kind of like, I felt always behind a step. And this time, I'm sure being home helped. Just there's more support and just more of our normal routine. But he has so many great opportunities. And so I guess this time I sort of found my footing of how can I use that for the Lord? And because he does have a lot of influence in different ways that I didn't understand before.
Right.
And so I don't know, just praying for ways that I can be used in that with him, instead of always just saying like, that's your thing, go do your thing. And he does an amazing job, you know.
Right,
but,
as partnering with him. Yeah.
And that's a daily choice.
Yes,
Because some days I'm like,
no, thanks.
I just want to be in my little bubble.
Yeah, I didn't sign up for this necessarily.
Right.
So, yeah. I can see that. I love that imagery of drinking from a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Because even in our walk, I think sometimes we step into things where it's like that, and we forget, or we don't really understand that we can pull back.
Right.
And say, okay, God, I can't handle all that. What, show me what I can handle, and how to do this in a way where I'm not drowning.
Yes.
I tend to drown myself. I tend to drink from fire hydrants a lot. So, it's whatever.
You do it well.
I drowned well, y'all. I do feel like it sometimes. I'm like, I know how to do this. It's fine. It's drowning, but, I can do it. I've done it before. But we really can, step back. And I think even in talking about this, I think there could be some people that think, oh, we've got to make this choice every day, and it's got to be this big thing. It doesn't.
Right.
I mean, Taylor's the only person besides my husband I've seen today. I mean, honestly, because I stayed at home and I cleaned house and did things like that. That doesn't seem like I'm being very kingdom, this big kingdom thing. But it is, because I took care of my home.
Right.
Of course this is very kingdom, but,
it's a great...
It could have just been us sitting here having a Coke or something, like chatting. So I think we need to remember that it's in the small things that God really does the big things.
Yeah.
It's in the small things, like saying yes to this friend that's sitting beside you in foster care this whole time, that, even if it took her a long time, but that's just meant that Chloe was...
Right. All in his timing.
It was all in his timing. He wasn't freaked out by you not saying no, yes right away or whatever. But it's in those little things.
Yeah.
It was even in the little things of going to the Bible study, or, that could even be introduced to y'all. So,
And that's a great point. I mean, I think, not to always tie it back to Cody's stuff, but it feels like his stuff is super big and important.
Right.
And
yes,
so,
I know what you mean, though.
And so I just think that reminder of, the world's scale of importance isn't the Lord's.
Right.
And so every day,
definitely,
like you said, cleaning your house, well, that's faithfulness to your family, to your kids, all those things. And like you said, I think the daily choice to either represent him or not, or take your thoughts captive.
Yes.
Couldn't get that
Not
out.
our words, but whatever.
Right.
I do it all the time on here. So.
Just not letting the enemy in that way.
Yeah.
To think that it doesn't matter.
Right. It definitely does.
Yeah.
It definitely does matter. The little things matter in the kingdom.
Right.
Not so much in the world.
Right.
I mean, that's just, the enemy loves to make us feel like, well, you're not important, and what you're doing doesn't matter. And, just even earlier saying, well, I only have so and so many subscribers, or I think there's probably a million times that I've said, well, I only know 2 people that listen to the radio show, because they were the only ones that voiced anything.
Right.
It doesn't. Yes, sometimes it's hard, especially with social media stuff,
right,
to not look at the numbers. But I don't know what's really happening in all that 97% of the world that we can't see.
Right.
I don't know what's really happening as the airwaves go out, and so since I can't touch that and can't feel that, I can't. But I also can't forget of just how important that is,
right,
as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's true of anything any of us do.
Yeah.
There's so much more that we don't see and don't recognize and don't understand.
Yeah, the impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I think in foster care, that was a hard lesson because once we went through the training, it was just like, how could we not do it? And we decided to do it. But thankfully, Chloe was our first and only placement, which the Lord was super kind with that. But I just kept thinking like, well, what about the other ones? All the other, there's so many who need. And somebody, I think they told us in training, just like do for one what you would want to do for all of them. And I just thought like one matters, and whether that's, serving your children or one, it does matter, even though the world, like you said, they like the numbers.
Yeah. And even in that, they like to make you feel guilty about
doing it or not doing it or how you do it. Or
definitely.
Yeah.
So, and really not everybody's called to do that either.
Yeah,
so.
in many different capacities. If everybody did that, there'd be a lack many other places.
Right.
For sure.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much
for
coming and doing this with me, and just a quick little chat. And I can't wait to just, let everybody hear, and then, for y'all to also, I can't think right now. Sorry, the brain sometimes fritzes out on me. But anyway, for y'all to join us for all the other interviews I've got coming up with some more people that, it's just, I want us to see that being a kingdom representative, yes, I have a platform where I can stand and speak here. I can speak, at our shows for the studio. But I can also speak in my home and in different capacities like that. So I just really want, to kind of share different ways that we can be a kingdom representative. So thank you for doing that with me. And so I'll see everyone next week with another guest. And be sure and subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.